My landlord thought he could evict me until I pressed play in court and his whole story collapsed. The case started 8 months ago when Randall decided my lease renewal would come with triple the rent. When I said no, he sent a 30-day notice claiming I'd violated noise ordinances and damaged property. Complete fabrication. But I had no proof, or so I thought. My neighbor Beatrice knocked on my door the night I got the eviction papers. She's 73, barely leaves her apartment, and has lived there for 22 years. "I heard you're in trouble with Randall," she said, handing me a flash drive. "I've been recording everything for 3 years. Audio from my security system." I plugged it in and found hundreds of hours of hallway conversations. Beatrice had documented every interaction between Randall and his tenants. What I discovered made me sick. Randall had been running a scheme for years. He'd pressure elderly and immigrant tenants with fake violations, scare them into leaving, then jack up rents for new occupants. On the recordings, I heard him coaching his maintenance guy Vince on which pipes to leave leaking, which locks to break, which apartments to make unlivable. There was footage of him damaging units, then billing tenants for repairs. The worst part was his harassment patterns. He targeted people who couldn't fight back. Mrs. Lopez next door hadn't spoken English well, and he'd threatened her with deportation over fake lease violations until she left. The couple in 4B were grad students working night shifts, and Randall scheduled noisy repairs during their sleep hours until they broke their lease. I spent 2 weeks organizing everything. My dad helped me find a tenant rights lawyer who took one look at my evidence and smiled. "This is airtight," she said. The court date arrived and Randall showed up in an expensive suit with his attorney. They'd prepared this presentation about what a problem tenant I'd been, how I'd thrown loud parties every weekend, how I'd punched holes in walls. They had photos of damage from different apartments and tried to pass them off as mine. When my lawyer stood up, Randall looked smug. Then she pulled out the laptop. "Your Honor, we have audio evidence that contradicts everything." The first clip played. Randall's voice filled the courtroom. "Vince, I need you to mess up the plumbing in 7C. Make it look like tenant damage. We'll bill them, then when they can't pay, we'll evict." The judge's expression changed instantly. We played clip after clip. Randall threatening tenants. Randall admitting to falsifying documents. Randall laughing about cycling through vulnerable people who wouldn't lawyer up. His attorney shuffled papers nervously. Randall had gone pale. The judge asked for a recess. When we returned, she denied the eviction immediately. But then she did something unexpected. She asked my lawyer to submit all evidence to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. She also issued an emergency order preventing Randall from evicting any current tenants pending a building inspection. That was yesterday. This morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls. Not from Randall, but from someone identifying as a federal investigator. Apparently, Randall's properties are connected to a larger network, and the recordings Beatrice gave me contained voices discussing things beyond housing fraud. The investigator wants to meet. She said to come alone and bring everything. She also said something rattling around in my head all day. "Mr. Randall isn't who you should worry about. He's just the middleman. The people he works for don't like loose ends, and you just became a problem for them." I'm sitting in my apartment staring at the flash drive. Beatrice hasn't answered her door in 2 days. There's a black sedan parked across the street since 4 a.m., the same one I noticed following me from the courthouse. My phone just buzzed. Unknown number. The text says, "Don't go to that meeting." I screenshot the message immediately. My hands are shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I text back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Someone who knows what happened to the last person who tried to expose them. My stomach drops. I'm about to respond when my apartment door rattles. Someone's testing the lock. I freeze, holding my breath. The knob turns slightly, catches on the deadbolt. Then footsteps retreat down the hallway. I grab my laptop, the flash drive, and my father's old baseball bat from the closet. The window overlooks the fire escape. 3 floors up, but it's my only exit if someone's in the hallway. I'm typing a text to my dad when my phone rings. Unknown number. I answer without speaking. "You're smart not to trust anyone." The voice is female, middle-aged, professional. "The investigator who called you this morning? Her name is Agent Patricia Wolf. She's legitimate FBI. But the meeting location she gave you? That's compromised. They know you're coming. Who are you?" "My name is Diana Chen. I'm a forensic accountant who's been tracking this operation for 4 years. Randall's organization runs through 17 states. Housing fraud is just the surface. They're laundering money through rental properties, targeting vulnerable populations who won't report them, and they've been doing it for over a decade. I'm pacing now, bat still in hand. Why should I believe you? Because I sent you that text. Because I've been sitting in a coffee shop across the street watching that black sedan all morning. Because Beatrice called me 3 days ago and told me everything. My heart stops. Where is she? Is she okay? Silence on the other end. Too long. "Diana? Where is Beatrice?" "She's in protective custody. Federal marshals moved her yesterday morning. She's the one who told them to contact me. She knew you'd need help." Relief floods through me, followed immediately by suspicion. "Prove it. Tell me something only Beatrice would know." "She said you bring her groceries every Sunday. Always include those butter cookies in the blue tin. She said you remind her of her grandson Timothy, who died in 2008. She said you're the only person in that building who still treats her like a human being." Tears burn my eyes. "That's Beatrice." "Okay, what do I do?" "First, you leave that apartment right now. Pack only essentials. Leave your phone behind. They can track it. Second, there's a bodega 2 blocks east, Rodriguez Family Market. Go there and ask for Felipe. Tell him Diana sent you. He'll get you somewhere safe. Third, bring that flash drive. There's more on it than you realize. What do you mean more? Beatrice's recordings caught voices from higher up the chain: CEOs, city officials, federal contractors, people who make Randall look like a small-time hustler. That's why they're panicking. That's why you're in danger. I'm already moving, grabbing my emergency bag from the closet. I learned to keep one packed after my apartment was broken into 2 years ago. How do I know this isn't a trap? You don't. But I know Beatrice trusted me enough to call. And right now, I'm the only person telling you not to walk into an ambush. She hangs up. I stare at my phone. 48 missed calls now. 6 voicemails. All from numbers I don't recognize. I power it down and shove it under my mattress. Grab my old laptop, the flash drive, my passport, the $800 in cash I keep hidden in a coffee can, and a change of clothes. The baseball bat goes in my backpack. Before I leave, I check the peephole. Empty hallway. I unlock the deadbolt as quietly as possible and slip out. The elevator feels too exposed, so I take the stairs. Every footstep echoes. I'm expecting someone to appear around each corner. I make it to the first floor. The lobby is empty except for our building superintendent, Raymond, who's mopping near the mailboxes. He doesn't look up. I push through the front door into morning sunlight. The black sedan is still there. I force myself not to look at it directly. I turn left, away from the direction Diana specified, then cut through an alley behind the dry cleaners. My heart is hammering so hard I can hear it in my ears. 2 blocks east, Rodriguez Family Market. The bodega sits on a corner, wedged between a laundromat and a check-cashing place. I've walked past it 1,000 times but never went inside. A bell chimes as I enter. The smell of fresh bread and spices hits me. An older man stands behind the counter. Gray hair, weathered face, kind eyes. He's arranging lottery tickets. Felipe? He looks up, studies me for a long moment. You're early. Diana called. She said. He holds up a hand. I know what she said. Come. He leads me through a door behind the counter into a storage room, crowded with boxes of rice and canned goods. There's another door at the back. He unlocks it with a key from his pocket. Downstairs. Wait there. Someone will come for you. Who? People who want to help. People who've been waiting for someone like you to come forward. The stairs descend into darkness. I hesitate. Felipe's expression softens. My daughter lived in one of Randall's buildings 4 years ago. They drove her out with rats and mold and threats. She was 7 months pregnant, lost the baby from the stress. These people? They've destroyed lives. You did a brave thing in court. Now let us help you finish it. I go down the stairs. The basement is larger than I expected. Finished walls, fluorescent lights, several tables with laptops and stacks of files. 3 people look up as I enter. 2 men and a woman, all in their 30s or 40s, professional clothing, exhausted faces. The woman stands. She's tall, black, hair pulled back in a tight bun. You must be the tenant from the Randall case. I'm Keisha Monroe. These are my colleagues Timothy Park and Leonard Fisher. We're attorneys with the Housing Rights Coalition. Diana Chen said, Diana's on her way. We coordinate with her. She handles the financial forensics. We handle the legal side. Keisha gestures to a chair. Please sit. We don't have much time. I sit, backpack still clutched in my lap. Time for what? To prepare your testimony, to get you into actual protective custody, and to figure out how deep this goes. She slides a folder across the table. What you stumbled into is bigger than one corrupt landlord. Randall is connected to a real estate investment company called Fortress Properties Group. They own 847 buildings in 12 states. Combined, they house over 60,000 tenants, and every single one of those properties is part of this scheme. I open the folder. Financial statements, property records, organizational charts, names I don't recognize, photos of buildings and cities I've never visited. Beatrice's recordings, Timothy says, contained conversations between Randall and his handlers at Fortress. They discuss quotas, how many tenants to cycle through per quarter, which demographics to target. They have a whole system. It's industrialized exploitation. Leonard leans forward. He's pale, balding, wearing wire-rimmed glasses. We've been investigating Fortress for 3 years, but we've never had evidence this concrete. Audio recordings of them actively planning criminal activity? That changes everything. The problem is, they know what you have, and they'll do anything to bury it. How do they know? The flash drive never left my possession. Keisha exchanges glances with the others. We think there's a leak, either in the DA's office or with the federal investigators. Someone tipped them off after your court hearing. That's why Beatrice was moved to protective custody so fast. Agent Wolf realized you'd both be targets. So the meeting this morning was legitimate, Keisha confirms. But the location was compromised. Someone in Fortress's network found out where you'd be. They were planning to intercept you before you reached federal protection. My mouth is dry. Intercept me how? No one answers. The silence says everything. Diana Chen arrives 20 minutes later. She's petite, Asian, maybe 50 years old, carrying a messenger bag and 2 coffees. She sets one in front of me without asking. You're okay. Good. We need to move fast. She pulls out her laptop and plugs in a hard drive. I've been analyzing the financial records connected to Fortress Properties. The money flow is staggering. They're taking in roughly $280 million annually from their rental properties. But here's what's interesting. She pulls up a spreadsheet. Their reported income to the IRS is only $140 million. The other half is moving through shell companies, offshore accounts, and fake vendors. Money laundering, I say, on a massive scale. And the sources of that money? That's where it gets really dark. She clicks through several files. Fortress Properties is partially owned by a company called Meridian Capital. Meridian has ties to 3 different organized crime families: Russian, Italian, and a Mexican cartel. They're using these rental properties to clean drug money, human trafficking proceeds, and funds from illegal gambling operations. I feel sick. I just wanted to fight my eviction. I know, Diana says gently. But what you uncovered could dismantle a criminal empire. The FBI has been trying to penetrate Fortress for years. You just handed them the key. Beatrice handed them the key. I correct. I just happened to be her neighbor. Beatrice is a hero, Keisha agrees. But so are you. You took this to court. You could have just moved out quietly. Most people do. Most people don't have a 73-year-old woman risk her safety to help them. Diana's phone buzzes. She checks it, frowns. We need to go. Now. The safe house is ready. Federal marshals are en route. We gather everything. I'm following them toward the stairs when Leonard's phone rings. He answers, listens, and his face drains of color. When? How many? Pause. Jesus Christ. He hangs up, looks at us with barely controlled panic. That was my contact at the courthouse. Vince Rodriguez just confessed to everything. Randall's maintenance guy. He walked into the federal building an hour ago and started talking. He says Randall ordered him to set fires in 3 buildings last year. 4 people died. The room goes silent. He's naming names. Leonard continues. Everyone in the organization. He says they're cleaning house, getting rid of anyone who can testify. He says there's a hit list and he looks directly at me. You're on it. We leave now, Keisha says. Diana, you drive. Take the back exit through the tunnel. Timothy, call Marshal Service. Tell them we need immediate extraction. Leonard, grab the files. Everything happens fast. We're moving through another door I hadn't noticed, into a narrow tunnel that smells like damp concrete. Diana's leading with a flashlight from her phone. The tunnel slopes upward, exits into an alley 3 blocks away. A van is waiting. Dark blue, no windows. Diana unlocks it with a remote. Get in. Marshal Service will meet us at the rendezvous point. I climb in the back with Keisha and Leonard. Timothy takes the passenger seat. Diana drives. We pull into traffic. I'm watching through the front windshield, expecting every car to follow us. Where are we going? Federal building downtown, Diana says. Agent Wolf is coordinating protection. You'll give your statement. The flash drive will be entered into evidence. Then they'll move you somewhere secure until the trial. What about my dad? My friends? They'll target them. Already handled, Keisha assures me. Marshal Service is contacting your immediate family. They'll be protected too. We drive for 30 minutes. My mind is racing. 4 people died in fires Randall ordered. How many others? How many lives destroyed by this organization? The federal building looms ahead. Modern architecture, glass and steel, American flag snapping in the wind. Diana pulls into an underground garage. Guards check her credentials, wave us through. We park near an elevator. Diana kills the engine. From here, we go straight to the 8th floor. Agent Wolf's office. Do not talk to anyone else. Do not answer questions until you're with her. Understand? I nod. We ride the elevator in silence. 8th floor. The doors open onto a hallway with fluorescent lights and beige walls. Agent Wolf is waiting. She's in her 50s, short gray hair, sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. FBI badge on her belt. You must be our witness, she says, shaking my hand. I'm Patricia Wolf. Thank you for coming. I know this morning was complicated. Someone warned me not to come to the original meeting. That was Diana. We coordinated that call. The location I gave you over the phone was intentionally compromised. We wanted to see who would show up. She leads us down the hall. 3 men were arrested at that location an hour ago. All with ties to Fortress Properties. All armed. My legs almost give out. Wolf notices. You're safe now. This building has the highest security in the city. No one's getting to you here. Her office is large, cluttered with case files and coffee cups. She gestures for me to sit. Diana hands her the flash drive. This is everything? Everything Beatrice recorded. 3 years of audio. Conversations, threats, planning sessions. It's all there. Wolf plugs the drive into her computer. Starts scrolling through files. Her expression hardens as she reads. This is extraordinary. This is everything we've been missing. For the next 4 hours, I tell her everything. How Randall tried to evict me. How Beatrice gave me the recordings. What I found. The court hearing. The calls. The threats. She records my statement. Takes notes. Asks detailed questions. When I'm done, she leans back in her chair. You did the right thing. I know this is terrifying, but you just helped us build a RICO case against one of the largest criminal enterprises on the East Coast. What happens now? Now we move you into witness protection. Not permanently, but until the trial. You'll be relocated to a secure facility, given a new identity temporarily. 24-hour protection. Your father and anyone else close to you will be protected as well. For how long? Until we've dismantled the organization and secured convictions. Could be 6 months. Could be longer. I won't lie to you. It won't be easy, but you'll be alive. That's when the lights go out. Complete darkness. Emergency lighting kicks in immediately, bathing everything in red. Stay calm, Wolf says. Her gun is already drawn. Lockdown protocol. Happens automatically during power outages. But her voice is tight, worried. Her phone rings. She answers. Listens. Her face goes white. How many? Where? Pause. Lock it down. Now. She hangs up. Looks at me with an expression I'll never forget. There's been a breach. Someone's in the building. Diana moves closer to me. How is that possible? I don't know, but we need to move. Now. Wolf opens a door I hadn't noticed behind her desk. Service corridor, goes directly to the parking garage. Marshals are already there. We follow her into a narrow hallway. Emergency lights cast everything in shadow. Our footsteps echo. Wolf is talking into her radio. Package is mobile. En route to extraction point Delta. Need immediate support. Negative. A voice crackles back. Delta is compromised. Multiple hostiles. Redirect to Epsilon. Wolf curses. Changes direction. We're moving faster now. I can hear shouting somewhere in the building. Gunshots. Actual gunshots. What the hell is happening? Leonard gasps. They're here for the witness, Wolf says. They're here for the evidence. They knew we'd bring them both here. We burst through a door into a stairwell. Start descending. Wolf's radio keeps crackling with updates. Hostiles on multiple floors. Federal agents engaging. Building in lockdown. Second floor. First floor. Basement. We're in a parking area I haven't seen before. 3 black SUVs wait with engines running. Federal marshals in tactical gear surround them. Get in! Wolf orders. Middle vehicle, go! Diana and I climb in. Keisha, Timothy, and Leonard take another SUV. Wolf joins us. The doors slam shut. We're moving before I can even buckle up. What about my dad? Already extracted, Wolf says. He's secure. Focus on staying alive. We exit the garage at speed. I look back and see smoke coming from the federal building. Police cars are converging. Sirens everywhere. Who were they? I ask. Who attacked a federal building? Professionals, Wolf says grimly. This wasn't some street gang. This was a coordinated assault by people with training and resources. They wanted you dead. They wanted that evidence destroyed. And they were willing to do whatever it took. We drive for an hour. Out of the city, through suburbs, into rural areas I don't recognize. The sun is setting when we finally turn onto an unmarked road. A house appears through trees. Isolated. No neighbors visible. Safe house, Wolf explains. Off the books. Only a handful of people know about it. You'll stay here until we can arrange more permanent protection. The house is comfortable but sparse. Furniture that looks like it came from a catalog. No personal touches. 3 bedrooms. Armed marshals outside. Diana stays with me. The others leave. Wolf promises to return in the morning. Get some rest, she says. We'll figure out next steps tomorrow. But I can't rest. I'm sitting on a couch, staring at walls, replaying everything. The attack on the federal building. The gunshots. The smoke. Diana makes tea, hands me a cup. This isn't your fault. 4 people died in fires Randall ordered. How many others? How many people got hurt because I didn't come forward sooner? You didn't know. Beatrice didn't know. You both thought you were dealing with one corrupt landlord. No one could have predicted this. My phone, my real phone, the one I left behind, keeps buzzing in my memory. All those missed calls. They killed people, I say, to protect their operation. They burned down buildings. And now they'll go to prison because of what you did. Because Beatrice documented everything. Because you had the courage to fight back. I sip the tea. It tastes like nothing. I just wanted to keep my apartment. I know. How did this become my life? Diana sits beside me. The same way it becomes everyone's life when they accidentally uncover the truth. You didn't go looking for this. But now that you've found it, you have a choice. Hide or finish what you started. They tried to kill me today. They attacked a federal building. They failed. You're alive. The evidence is secured, and every hour that passes, the FBI is building a case that will destroy them. You've already won the hardest part. Now you just have to survive long enough to see them pay for what they've done. I spend that night in the bedroom on the 2nd floor. Can't sleep. Keep checking the windows. Every sound makes me jump. Car doors. Wind in trees. A dog barking in the distance. Morning comes slowly. Gray light through curtains. I hear voices downstairs. When I go down, Agent Wolf is back. She's with another woman I don't recognize. 50s, black, wearing a blazer and carrying a briefcase. This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Patricia Okoye, Wolf says. She's leading the prosecution against Fortress Properties and everyone connected to them. Okoye shakes my hand. I've been briefing my team all night. The evidence you provided is extraordinary. We're preparing RICO charges, money laundering, conspiracy, murder. This is going to be one of the biggest organized crime cases in a decade. What about Randall? Already in custody. Arrested last night. He's cooperating. Gave us names, locations, financial records. He knows his only chance is to flip on the people above him. And Beatrice? Still in protective custody. Safe. She'll testify as well. Between your evidence and Randall's confession, we can connect Fortress Properties to 17 different criminal enterprises. Drug cartels, human trafficking rings, illegal gambling. They used rental properties as fronts for everything. I sink into a chair. How long has this been happening? At least 15 years. Possibly longer. We're still unraveling it. But this ends now. Because you fought back. Okoye opens her briefcase. Pulls out a thick stack of papers. I need you to read through this. It's your formal statement. Everything you told Agent Wolf yesterday, prepared for court. I'll need you to sign it. Then we'll prep you for testimony. I read for 2 hours. Every detail of my case. The eviction notice. Beatrice's recordings. What I heard. What I discovered. By the time I sign the last page, my hand is cramping. Good, Okoye says. Now, I need to be honest with you about what comes next. This organization, they don't give up. The attack on the federal building yesterday was just the beginning. They're going to keep trying. They have resources. They have connections. They have money. So I'm in danger for how long? Until we have everyone in custody. Until we've secured convictions. Until the organization is completely dismantled. That could take months. Maybe a year. You'll be in witness protection the entire time. Different location, different identity, constant security. What about my life? My job? My friends? Suspended. All of it. I know that's devastating, but it's necessary. These people will kill you if they find you. They've already proven that. I look at Diana, at Agent Wolf, at Okoye. What if I refuse? What if I just walk away? Wolf's expression softens. Then they'll find you eventually, and you'll die. And everyone they've hurt will never get justice. And the operation will continue. So I don't actually have a choice. You always have a choice, Okoye says. But some choices have consequences. You can walk away. We can't force you to testify. But without your testimony, our case gets weaker. We might still get convictions. We might not. Either way, you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. I stand up, walk to the window. Morning sun is breaking through clouds. I can see trees, a small pond, the edge of the property. It looks peaceful, safe, temporary. When I moved into that apartment 3 years ago, I say quietly, I was just trying to find somewhere affordable, somewhere close to work. I never imagined, none of us do, Diana interrupts. I started investigating Fortress because they targeted my brother. He lived in one of their buildings. They drove him to bankruptcy with fake fees and forced repairs. He lost everything. That was 4 years ago. I've been fighting them ever since. I turned to face her. Did you get justice? Not yet. But we will. Because of people like you. People like Beatrice. People who refuse to be silent. I take a deep breath. Okay. Tell me what I need to do. The next 6 months become a blur. Different safe houses, different cities, different identities. I'm Jessica in Baltimore, Amanda in Cleveland, Catherine in Nashville. I sleep in anonymous bedrooms, eat meals prepared by federal marshals, watch the case develop through briefings and legal documents. Arrests happen in waves. Randall first, then his handlers at Fortress, then executives at Meridian Capital. Each arrest leads to more information, more connections. The organization is bigger than anyone imagined. Diana visits when she can, brings updates, shows me charts of money flows and property networks. We've identified 1,147 victims so far, she tells me during one visit. People who were fraudulently evicted, families who lost everything. We're building a restitution fund. When this is over, they'll get compensation. That's something, I say. It's everything. That's what this is about. Not just punishment, justice, making things right. My dad calls twice a week from his own protective custody. He's in Arizona, living under the name Richard Patterson, working at a hardware store. How are you holding up? He asks. I'm alive. That counts for something. Your mother would be proud. She always said you had a spine made of steel. Mom would say I'm an idiot for not running away when I had the chance. He laughs. That too, but she'd be proud. The trial date gets set. October 23rd, federal courthouse in Manhattan. Okoye calls to prepare me. You're the star witness, she says. Everything hinges on your testimony. Beatrice will testify first. She'll establish the recordings. Then you'll explain what you found, what you heard, how you brought it to court. The defense will try to discredit you. They'll say you're lying. They'll say the recordings are fake. They'll attack your character. You need to be ready. We rehearsed for weeks. Mock cross-examinations, hostile questions, attempts to rattle me. Okoye plays the defense attorney. She's brutal, accusatory. Exactly what I'll face in court. Why should we believe you? She demands. You're just a disgruntled tenant who wanted to avoid paying rent? I have audio recordings of Mr. Randall planning criminal activity. The recordings are authenticated. They prove nothing. They could be edited, manipulated. You could have staged everything to frame an innocent landlord. Why would I stage 3 years of recordings? How would I even? You tell me. Maybe you had help. Maybe you're part of a larger conspiracy against my client. Round and round. Hours of this. By the time trial arrives, I'm exhausted but ready. October 23rd. I'm wearing a gray suit Diana bought for me. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. Professional. Credible. The courthouse is surrounded by police, barricades, metal detectors. Spectators line up for the few public seats. News crews pack the plaza. Agent Wolf escorts me through a side entrance. We take a service elevator to the courtroom floor. Remember, she says, just tell the truth. Don't embellish. Don't exaggerate. Just answer the questions honestly. The courtroom is packed. Judge Helen Morrison presiding. Elderly, stern, reputation for no-nonsense proceedings. The prosecution table holds Okoye and her team. The defense table holds 8 attorneys representing various defendants. Randall sits with his lawyer. He's thinner than I remember. Gray. Defeated. He won't look at me. Behind him sit executives from Fortress Properties. Meridian Capital. Some I recognize from the organizational charts. Others are new faces. Beatrice testifies first. She's composed, dignified, explains her security system, why she started recording, what she captured. The defense tries to shake her, suggests she's confused. Elderly. Unreliable. I'm 73 years old, Beatrice says calmly. Not brain dead. I know what I recorded. I know what I heard. And I know the difference between legal property management and organized crime. The courtroom erupts. Judge Morrison gavels for order. Then it's my turn. I walk to the witness stand. Take the oath. Sit down. The courtroom feels enormous. Every eye on me. Okoye begins. Please state your name for the record. Alexis Morgan. Ms. Morgan, how did you become involved in this case? I tell the story. The eviction notice. Beatrice's flash drive. What I discovered. The court hearing. My testimony is clear, factual, emotionless. The cross-examination is brutal. Defense attorneys take turns. They question my motives, my memory, my reliability. They suggest I fabricated everything out of spite. Isn't it true you were behind on rent? One attorney asks. No. I paid every month, on time. I have records. Records you could have falsified. Bank statements don't lie. Ms. Morgan, have you been paid for your testimony? No. Have you been promised anything in exchange for testifying? Protection. That's all. I'm in witness protection because your clients threatened my life. Objection! The attorney's face reddens. Inflammatory. Sustained. Judge Morrison rules. Ms. Morgan, please answer only the question asked. It goes on for hours. By the end, I'm drained. But I hold firm. Every answer consistent. Every detail backed by evidence. The trial lasts 7 weeks. Witness after witness. Financial experts, federal agents, former tenants. Vince Rodriguez, the maintenance guy, testifies about the fires, about following orders, about what he was told to do. The closing arguments happen on December 11th. Okoye stands before the jury. This case is about greed, about powerful people exploiting vulnerable populations, about a criminal enterprise that destroyed lives for profit. The evidence is overwhelming. The recordings are authentic. The testimony is corroborated. These defendants ran an organization that terrorized thousands of people. They deserve to be held accountable. The defense argues conspiracy, fabrication, overzealous prosecution. My clients are legitimate business people who've been falsely accused by disgruntled tenants and an out-of-control federal government. The jury deliberates for 3 days. I wait in the safe house, pacing, unable to eat, unable to think about anything else. December 14th, the verdict comes in. Agent Wolf calls. They're ready? We need to get you to the courthouse. I'm back in the witness room, waiting. Diana holds my hand. Whatever happens, she says, you did the right thing. What if they walk? They won't. But what if they won't? We're called into the courtroom. I sit in the gallery. Beatrice is there. My father. Other witnesses. The room is silent, tense. Judge Morrison enters. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. Please read it. The foreman stands, clears his throat. In the case of United States versus Randall Mitchell, we find the defendant guilty on all counts. Relief floods through me. I'm crying before I realize it. The foreman continues. In the case of United States versus Fortress Properties Group, we find the defendants guilty on all counts. In the case of United States versus Meridian Capital, guilty, 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 every defendant, every charge, guilty. The courtroom erupts. Judge Morrison pounds her gavel. Order, order in this court. Sentencing happens 3 weeks later. Randall gets 23 years. The Fortress executives get sentences ranging from 15 to 35 years. The Meridian Capital officers get life sentences without parole. This organization, Judge Morrison says during sentencing, represents everything corrupt about our society. They preyed on the vulnerable, they destroyed lives, they killed people, and they did it all for money. These sentences reflect the severity of their crimes and send a message that such behavior will not be tolerated. I watch from the gallery as they're led away. Randall glances back once. Our eyes meet. He mouths 2 words. I'm sorry. I don't respond. Sorry doesn't bring back the people who died in those fires. Sorry doesn't restore the lives destroyed by his schemes. January 18th, almost exactly 1 year after my court hearing. I'm sitting in Agent Wolf's office. Diana is there. Okoye, my father. The organization is dismantled, Wolf says. Every major player is in custody. The remaining members have scattered. You're no longer in immediate danger. So I can go home? You can go wherever you want. Your life is yours again. I thought this moment would feel triumphant, like victory. Instead, I just feel tired, changed. The person who walked into that courtroom a year ago doesn't exist anymore. What about the victims? I ask. The families Randall hurt. The restitution fund is established, Okoye says. Fortress Properties assets are being liquidated. We've identified 1,694 victims so far. They'll receive compensation. Not enough to undo the damage, but something. And the buildings? Being transferred to a nonprofit housing organization. They'll be properly managed, maintained, affordable housing for people who need it. The exact opposite of what Fortress intended. My father puts his arm around me. You did good, kiddo. Your mom would be proud. I didn't do anything. Beatrice did everything. She's the hero. You both are, Diana says. You could have walked away. You chose to fight. That takes courage most people don't have. I visit Beatrice the next day. She's back in her apartment. 7D, same building, everything familiar yet different. They fixed the building, she says, showing me around. New management came in, fixed the plumbing, updated the locks. It's actually nice now. Are you going to stay? Where else would I go? I've lived here 22 years. This is home. We sit in her living room drinking tea, the same room where she first played me the recordings. I never thanked you properly, I say, for trusting me, for giving me that flash drive. You saved my life. You saved a lot of lives. Those recordings were just evidence. You're the one who had the courage to use them. What made you start recording in the first place? She's quiet for a moment. My grandson Timothy. He lived in one of Randall's other buildings. They drove him out with the same tactics. Fake violations, harassment. He couldn't fight back, didn't have the resources. It broke something in him. He died 2 years later. Depression, addiction. Maybe it wasn't directly Randall's fault, but she trails off. I started recording so no one else would suffer like Timothy did. I reach across and take her hand. He would be proud of you. I hope so. I move into a new apartment 3 weeks later. Different building, different neighborhood. Better landlord. The management company runs background checks, maintains the property, responds to complaints within 24 hours. Normal things that should be standard everywhere. My father helps me unpack. We're arranging furniture when he says, "So what now? You going back to your old job?" Maybe. I don't know. Everything feels different now. You've been through trauma. That changes people. Give yourself time. I get a call from Diana a month later. She's excited. Breathless. Turn on the news. Channel 7. Now. I flip on the TV. A reporter stands outside a federal courthouse. Landmark case that exposed one of the largest housing fraud operations in American history. Today, President signs new legislation inspired by the Fortress Properties case. The Tenant Protection Act will establish federal oversight of rental properties, create whistleblower protections for tenants who report fraud, and increase penalties for landlords who engage in predatory practices. The screen shows the president signing the bill. Behind her stand several people. I recognize Okoye, Agent Wolf, and Beatrice, holding a framed photo of her grandson. "You did that," Diana says over the phone. "Your case changed federal law. Do you understand? This will protect millions of tenants for generations." I'm crying again. Seems like all I do lately. But these are different tears. Not fear, not stress. Something else. Relief, maybe, or hope. "We did that," I correct her. "All of us." 6 months later, I start working for the Housing Rights Coalition, the same organization that helped me during the trial. They need someone who understands the tenant perspective, someone who's been through it. My first case is a woman named Denise Palmer. Her landlord is threatening eviction over fake violations. The pattern is familiar. Too familiar. "Tell me everything," I say, pulling out my notepad. "Start from the beginning." As she talks, I take notes. Document everything. When she's done, I say, "Here's what we're going to do. First, we gather evidence. Second, we file a formal complaint. Third, we fight back. Because landlords like yours, they count on people being too scared or too tired to resist. We're going to show them what happens when someone fights back." Denise looks at me with hope in her eyes. "You really think we can win?" "I know we can, because I've already done it. And if I can, so can you." It's been 18 months since I pressed play in that courtroom. 18 months since Randall's story collapsed. 18 months since my life changed forever. I still have nightmares sometimes. Wake up in darkness thinking about the federal building attack, the gunshots, the smoke, the black sedan following me. But mostly, I think about the victories. 43 tenants so far helped by the coalition. 43 families who kept their homes. 43 people who didn't become victims. Beatrice and I have dinner every Sunday. We talk about cases, about life, about her grandson and how proud he'd be. She's 74 now, sharper than ever, still recording everything, though now it's just for safety, not evidence. "You should write a book," she tells me over pasta one evening, "about what happened. People need to hear this story. Maybe someday. Right now I'm focused on helping people." "That's good too. Timothy would have liked you. I wish I'd known him." "Me too. But in a way, you're carrying on his legacy, fighting the fights he couldn't." That means everything to me. My father remarried last month, a woman he met in Arizona during witness protection. They're happy, building a life. He calls weekly. "How's the Crusader?" he asks. His term for my work at the coalition. "Busy. We just won a case against a management company that was illegally withholding security deposits. 57 tenants getting their money back. That's my daughter, changing the world one landlord at a time. Someone has to." Diana sends me cases sometimes, properties she's investigating, organizations she suspects of fraud. "Take a look at this," her emails say. "Might be another Fortress situation. Usually they're smaller operations, local scams rather than organized crime. But everyone we shut down is progress. Every tenant we help is someone who doesn't suffer like the people in Randall's buildings." I'm sitting in my apartment tonight, looking at the city lights through my window, thinking about how everything changed because an old woman decided to install a security system because she couldn't save her grandson but refused to let others suffer the same way. My phone buzzes. Text from Beatrice. "Case on the news. Another housing fraud bust in Chicago, based on the federal act that came from our case. We're making a difference." I text back, "We are. Thank you for starting this." Her response comes immediately. "Thank you for finishing it. But it's not finished. It never really will be. There will always be another Randall, another Fortress Properties, another organization exploiting people who can't fight back. The difference now is that people know they can fight. They know they can win. The system isn't perfect, but it's better. And it's better because people like Beatrice refuse to stay silent. Because people like my father taught me to stand up for what's right. Because people like Diana dedicate their lives to uncovering the truth. I'm just one person. But one person with evidence, courage, and determination can change everything. My landlord thought he could evict me. He thought he could silence me. He thought I was just another vulnerable tenant who would disappear quietly. He was wrong. And now he's spending the next 23 years in federal prison thinking about that mistake. I press play on my laptop. A new voice recording from a new case. Another landlord, another scheme, Another opportunity to fight back. Here we go again.